Alright, everyone settle in because today we're diving deep into something that's been buzzing around the football world, and honestly it's way bigger than just the beautiful game itself. We're talking about the upcoming World Cup draw and why I genuinely believe this one isn't just another random grouping of teams. It could actually be the most politically charged and scrutinized draw in the entire history of the tournament. I mean, seriously, we're not just picking names out of a hat here, we're potentially setting the stage for a geopolitical minefield, and I want to break down exactly why I feel that way, why this isn't just hyperbole, why this isn't just me being dramatic, this is a real situation unfolding before our eyes. Usually when we talk about a World Cup draw, we're all hyped up about the football, right? We're imagining dream groups or nightmare groups from a purely sporting perspective: who's going to face who, which giants will clash early, which underdogs have a chance to surprise everyone. But this time around the conversation feels different. It's heavier, it's got layers of complexity that go far beyond tactics and player matchups, and that's what makes it so fascinating and, frankly, a little bit unsettling. I've been following this closely, and what I'm seeing suggests that the political implications, the human rights questions, the diplomatic tensions are all going to be front and center, making this draw less about football purity and more about navigating a very delicate global landscape. Let's start with the elephant in the room, the host nation itself, Qatar, a country that has been at the center of controversy ever since it won the bid way back in 2010. The very act of hosting the World Cup there has brought a spotlight onto its human rights record, particularly concerning migrant workers who built the stadiums and infrastructure. We've heard countless reports of appalling conditions, wage theft, and even deaths, and these aren't just whispers, these are well-documented issues that have drawn condemnation from international organizations and human rights groups globally. So when the draw happens, every mention of Qatar, every graphic, every piece of commentary will implicitly carry the weight of these profound human rights concerns, which is a massive political statement in itself. Then there's the issue of LGBTQ+ rights and women's rights in Qatar, which are starkly different from many of the participating nations and their fan bases. For many fans, players, and even entire federations, the idea of traveling to a country where homosexuality is illegal or where women face significant societal restrictions creates a deep moral dilemma. This isn't just about cultural differences, it's about fundamental human rights that many feel should be universal, and the tension between these values and the host nation's laws is going to be palpable during the draw and throughout the tournament. I expect to see discussions around how teams and fans will navigate these cultural clashes, how they might express dissent or solidarity, and what kind of messaging will come from official channels, which is inherently political. And we can't forget the persistent allegations of corruption surrounding Qatar's original bid for the World Cup itself. These aren't new accusations, they've been swirling for years, leading to investigations and even convictions within FIFA's ranks. The shadow of these alleged illicit dealings still hangs over the tournament, reminding everyone that the decision to award the World Cup to Qatar was not universally seen as transparent or ethical. This historical baggage means that any discussion of the draw, any celebration of the event is always going to be intertwined with these questions of integrity and fairness, which again is a deeply political dimension. Moving beyond Qatar specifically, let's talk about the broader geopolitical tensions that are currently shaping our world and how they could manifest in this World Cup draw. The most immediate and obvious example is the exclusion of Russia from the tournament following its invasion of Ukraine, a decision that was unequivocally political. This sets a massive precedent, demonstrating that international sporting bodies like FIFA are willing to take decisive action based on geopolitical events, and this act itself is a huge political statement. It raises questions about future conflicts and how other nations might be treated, and it means that the draw will proceed without a major footballing nation due to non-sporting reasons, which is unprecedented in recent memory. Consider the ongoing Israel-Palestine dynamics, a conflict that always has the potential to spill over into international events, including sports. While direct matchups might be avoided due to seeding rules or geographical separation rules, the very presence of teams from the region or teams whose governments have strong stances on the conflict can create an atmosphere of heightened tension. There's always the possibility of fan protests, of media scrutiny around any interactions or even non-interactions, and this creates a political undercurrent that very few other sporting events have to contend with on this scale. I'm thinking about how media outlets will frame potential matchups and the kind of pressure players might feel to make statements. Then there's the situation in Iran, a country currently experiencing widespread protests and significant domestic unrest, which has also drawn international attention. Should Iran qualify for the World Cup, its presence would immediately bring these internal political struggles onto the global stage. Players might feel compelled to speak out or make gestures of solidarity with protesters, risking repercussions back home, or their matches could become focal points for international activism and media scrutiny. This adds another layer of political complexity to the draw because certain pairings could amplify these issues, making the football almost secondary to the social and political statements being made. Let's also not overlook regional rivalries within the Middle East itself, particularly involving Qatar and its neighbors like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Egypt. While relations have thawed somewhat after a diplomatic blockade against Qatar, these historical tensions still simmer beneath the surface. The World Cup draw could inadvertently group teams from these nations, creating matchups that are laden with historical and political significance beyond just the football rivalry. Imagine the media narratives, the fan reactions, and the diplomatic tightrope walk that might ensue. If such groups were formed, this isn't just about who wins on the pitch, it's about regional pride and power dynamics. The role of human rights activism and player advocacy is also going to be a huge factor in making this a political draw. We've already seen players and federations from countries like Norway and Germany making statements or wearing t-shirts highlighting human rights issues in Qatar. This trend is likely to continue and intensify as the draw approaches, and certainly during the tournament itself. Players are increasingly using their platforms to speak out on social and political issues, and this World Cup provides an unparalleled global stage for such expressions of conscience. The question then becomes, how will FIFA and the Qatari authorities respond to these acts of activism? Will they be tolerated? Will there be penalties? This is a very political tightrope walk. Fans too are becoming more vocal and organized in their activism, with calls for boycotts or protests against the tournament's host nation. Social media amplifies these voices, creating a powerful collective pressure that can influence public opinion and even sponsor behavior. The draw itself will be a moment for these discussions to reignite, with fans debating whether to support their teams regardless or to use the event as a platform for protest. This level of fan engagement on political issues is something that FIFA and host nations have to contend with now more than ever, and it adds another significant layer of political scrutiny to the entire event. And speaking of sponsors, they're caught in a really difficult position here, trying to balance their commercial interests with their corporate social responsibility commitments. Brands are increasingly aware that aligning with controversial events can damage their reputation and alienate consumers. So during the draw we might see subtle messaging from sponsors or a more cautious approach to their marketing around the event as they try to navigate these ethical minefields. Their decisions whether to fully embrace the tournament or to distance themselves from its controversies are inherently political statements in the modern business landscape. FIFA itself is in an incredibly challenging position trying to balance its stated neutrality in political matters with the undeniable reality of the situation. They always claim to separate sport from politics, but the very act of awarding the World Cup to Qatar and then having to deal with the fallout makes that separation impossible. Their financial interests are massive, but so is the pressure to uphold certain ethical standards and manage public perception. How they conduct the draw, how they address any controversies that arise from specific pairings will be closely watched, and every decision they make will be scrutinized through a political lens. This World Cup will set a significant precedent for how FIFA handles future bids and future hosts, especially concerning human rights and ethical considerations. Now let's think about the actual mechanics of the draw and how even the seemingly innocuous rules can create politically charged scenarios. FIFA has geographical separation rules designed to prevent teams from the same confederation from being grouped together in most cases, but sometimes these rules can create unintended political groupings. Imagine a scenario where, due to these rules, certain teams with historical or current political tensions are forced into the same group. The media would immediately jump on it, framing it as a political showdown rather than just a football match. Consider the potential for what I call nightmare groups, not just from a sporting perspective but from a purely political one. What if, for example, a European nation known for its strong stance on human rights issues is drawn into a group with a Middle Eastern nation that has a very different record? Or what if a team that has been particularly vocal about player activism finds itself in a group with a team whose government has been critical of such activism? These pairings would immediately ignite a media frenzy and create a narrative far more complex than just who's going to win the match. The discussions would shift from tactics to diplomacy, from goals to human rights. The media's role in all of this cannot be overstated. International media outlets will be dissecting every aspect of the draw, not just the footballing implications, but the political ones. They will highlight potential flashpoints, interview players and coaches about sensitive topics, and frame group matchups through a geopolitical lens. This intense scrutiny means that every decision, every comment, every gesture made during the draw will be magnified and interpreted, often with political undertones. The narratives that emerge from the draw will set the tone for the entire tournament, shaping how fans and the public perceive the event. So as we approach this World Cup draw, I think it's crucial to understand that we're not just witnessing a simple football ceremony. We are watching a complex interplay of global politics, human rights concerns, cultural clashes, and strategic maneuvering. This isn't just about who gets an easy group or a tough group, it's about the very values and principles that underpin international sport and global society. The decisions made, the statements issued, and even the silence maintained during this draw will resonate far beyond the football pitches of Qatar. In conclusion, this World Cup draw is poised to be an event unlike any other, defined not just by the excitement of the sport but by the heavy weight of its political backdrop. From the controversies surrounding the host nation itself to the geopolitical tensions affecting participating teams to the powerful voices of player and fan activism, every element points to a draw that will be remembered for its political significance as much as for its footballing drama. It's going to be a fascinating and challenging spectacle to watch, and I believe it will fundamentally change how we view the intersection of sport and politics moving forward. I'm really curious to hear what you all think about this. Do you agree that this World Cup draw will be exceptionally political, or do you think I'm overstating the case? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep this important conversation going. Because understanding these layers makes the beautiful game even more compelling and sometimes even more concerning.